Hello, friends, and welcome to Activate and Thrive and to our Thriving Thursday chat, where we chat with various different beautiful health and thriving and wellness minded people about many different aspects of health and thriving in life. We run these chats periodically on our Facebook page, Activate and Thrive. And we also share them on YouTube later. So whether you're watching live here on Facebook, later here on Facebook, or on YouTube, welcome. We're so glad to have you. My name is Dawn.
And I'm Mia. And our guest today is Dr. Sveta Silverman out of Edmonton, Canada. Sveta is a surgical pathologist, a breast cancer specialist, and just so much more. Very humble. Immigrated to Canada from Russia, where she was a surgical pediatrician, and then went through med school again in Canada and became a pathologist. She's deeply passionate about health. She's taught nutrition classes for decades. In recent years, she's even received her yoga certification and teaches yoga. She's attended 3 international conferences on NRF2 activation, which we've spoken about that technology here before, and presented papers. Sveta has a thirst and a hunger for learning. She's just always learning. But most of all, she's one of the most brilliant minds and has one of the most beautiful hearts on this planet. And we're very excited and blessed to have her here with us today. So welcome, Sveta. We're so happy you're here.
Well, thank you very much for this glorious introduction.
You deserve it.
So we have an interesting topic today. We're going to be talking about something called zombie-like cells. Definitely doesn't sound good. And we're wondering, why should we care about zombie-like cells?
Yes, what are they?
What are they? Talk to us, because it definitely sounds a little scary.
It's interesting, you guys. To be honest with you, I wasn't expecting this question. Because, so as of now, not too many people are talking about zombie cells. Zombie cells are probably somewhat a part of our senescence. So how do we age? We have inbuilt ability in the cells to replicate. We also are we are very fortunate. I mean, I think all live species are very fortunate to replicate very wise cells. The cells are very wise. They recognize when they become sick. They recognize when they become old. And then they themselves, as well as the healthy immune system, they're going to implement the mechanism of self-destruction.
Wow.
So now let's get to the end. Again, there are multiple mechanisms, and one of this mechanism of a self-destruction, or it is called apoptosis. Some people call it apoptosis. Some people who do massive research, they get very offended calling it apoptosis as opposed to apoptosis.
It's all Greek to us.
Exactly.
Spelled absolutely the same. So the thing is, what happened is, and again, that mechanism is implicated and inbuilt in our mitochondria. So I'm just trying again. It's interesting how everything is interconnected, intertwined, and balanced in terms of health, and unbalanced in terms of disease. Let me sort of derail a little bit more into concept that is called inflammaging.
Yeah, I've heard that, inflammaging.
There is another term that is called meta-aging, or which is called metabolic aging. So, you know, and metabolic aging is basically, it's just aging by a slowing of metabolic processes. But what are the metabolic processes? They entirely linked to whether the cell is healthy or the cell is diseased. So that's why the concept inflammaging. There is a conjunction or communion of inflammation, and we're talking chronic inflammation and aging. It's like chronic inflammation is going to link to earlier aging. And aging leads to chronic inflammation. So they go hand in hand. And we need to break that cycle.
Yeah.
So,
And sorry.
So sorry. So now going sort of, you know, it's still very windy and lengthy answer to zombie cells. So when the cell is old, now again, it's derailed for you to understand. Every cell has a capability to replicate when it kind of gets bad, wonky, disease or something. And there is a certain number of these replications that is inbuilt in our DNA. Our DNA is, you know, consists of a whole bunch of chromosomes that look like X's. And on the tips of the chromosomes, there are parts of DNA that are called telomeres.
Right.
So telomeres are responsible for the number of replications. When the telomeres are healthy, we get the maximal replication number. When telomeres are not healthy, we get short. We got shortened in the number of these replications. And when the replications stop, the cell dies. Again, the health of the telomeres, it's in the balance of a healthy mitochondria, of a healthy cell membranes, of a healthy volume of oxidative stress. So cell has to be healthy for the mitochondria to be healthy, for DNA to be healthy, for telomeres working properly. Because when the telomeres are not working properly and we get into senescence, and mitochondria, for example, doesn't recognize, or mitochondria is so confused and dysfunctional, and you know there are multiple of them. So what happens is the signal or the command, you're going to die, this cell, you're bad. You know, it's either immune system is going to destroy you or you're going to die, not happening. So that cell become a disease, sort of kind of ill active, senescent, old, decrepit cell that is called the zombie cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it doesn't let healthy cells to replicate. And the collection of zombie cells, again, are going to produce pro-inflammatory signals or some bad activation that is going to lead to different category of chronic diseases. So that's why we need to take care of zombie cells.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's very clear. I just want to, you've mentioned a few times this word senescence.
Yeah, sorry, Don, that was kind of windy. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, no. It's excellent. But you mentioned a couple of times this word senescence. In case our listeners aren't familiar with it, it basically relates to the process of becoming old, right? Isn't that one way to put it?
Senescence.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wonder, is there some way one can, I don't know that zombie cells are cells are becoming zombie cells, or is there any way?
Well, there are certain tests, sophisticated or some tests that is in a sense give you your biological age. And then you assume that you have a whole bunch of, let's say you are biologically you are chronologically 30. And you do that test, you do the evaluation of telomeres and a whole bunch of other stuff, and it shows your biological age of 50. So obviously you have zombie cells.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
If you're chronologically 30 but biologically 50.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, it could work the other way. You could be chronologically 60 and biologically 30.
Absolutely, absolutely correct. And that's
Well,
exactly,
that sounds good.
that's exactly what we need to do, because that's my path. And that's what, I try to teach. I try to teach proactive health.
Right. So
I try to teach proactivity. We need to be proactive rather than retroactive.
Yes.
So inadvertently, with aging, our metabolic processes are getting slower. It's just normality of things. So then, so what can we do? So are there any components that are called, for example, anti-senolytics? So, senolytics, it's something that makes us older. Anti-senolytics, even senolytics. Senility is aging, right? Senility. Senolytics is lysing, eliminating senility.
Oh, I like that word then.
Yeah,
right.
So there are a bunch of senolytics. And the thing is, so my take again with senolytics is it's my responsibility as to take care of my body. So what are the simplest senolytics that we can do? It's very simple, and it doesn't start with supplements. It starts with a simple lifestyle pattern. It starts with a praying, a healthy mind, because it's all connected. And then, the pattern of sleep and what you eat, the nutrition stuff, because those senolytics are in your food if you eat that food.
What about exercise as well?
Exactly, but they're not in Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we don't want to do that.
Absolutely. It's not only now, Dawn, you opened a huge health Pandora box, because now exercise and food are linked together into per se one of these sort of, diets or the lifestyles of favor. So now there is a diet, the month or something, whatever.
Yeah.
It's called fasting mimicking diet.
Mm-hmm.
AKA the exercises right there that allows you not to starve and eat right and take care of your take care of your, senescence.
Right.
But I'm sure there's more to it than the prayer, the spiritual treatment.
And then you go into drugs. Absolutely, there are drugs that are known to be senolytics. One you're aware of, everybody knows about metformin. And let's say, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say the company that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
So we know that, let's say the study was done by a National Institute of Aging, and metformin was there, and Protandim was there, and a whole bunch of other drugs like rapamycin and other stuff was there. And it basically two things that statistically have been proven to be effective as senolytics, and that will be metformin and Protandim. And the thing is, which makes total sense, because so of course, obviously, if we can do healthy lifestyle, we try to accumulate all the lifestyle patterns. And absolutely senolytic supplements and senolytics, here we're talking about some mitochondrial boosters like alpha lipoic acid, like coenzyme Q10, like carnitine, like quercetin. These are statistically, scientifically proven senolytics.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, now I'm kind of more into, I call it silver bottle Protandim.
That's so Protandim, we've mentioned that on previous chats before. That is what it's a product line. We have 3 products that are Protandim products, a flagship product, and then another product that deals with the mitochondria. So that's what you're talking about with the silver bottle. So you can go into detail about these. You can talk about
silver bottle because I put a whole lot more into significance of that silver bottle into mitochondrial health.
Mm-hmm.
So and that hopefully is going to keep the zombie cells at bay, or minimize them and wipe them, and not to bring them on board to begin with. Because you know, if we have bad cells, which is good, because we just need those mitochondria to recognize that the cell is bad. And when that mechanism is working, that's fine. It's going, that bad cell is good. Every day we have tumor cells floating or mutated cells floating in our system. But that's where mitochondria is guarding us. That's where our immune system is guarding us. Again, if we start, it's all, as I said, it's all in balance. So now if we're talking immune system, we need to address the gut and the microgut.
Yeah.
And then we need to address, if we're addressing the gut and the microgut, we cannot skip mitochondria, because microgut will never be healthy without healthy mitochondria, and vice versa.
Right.
Right. May I just
is intertwined and interconnected.
May I just rewind a little bit here for our viewers who may not be as familiar with exactly what we're talking about with Protandim. You had mentioned metformin and Protandim as having been identified. Metformin, of course, is pharmaceutical. Protandim is completely natural nutraceutical, right? How is that having an impact on this degradation of the cells? How is Protandim, this natural product, doing that?
Yeah, you know, well, obviously metformin has its own pathways. However, they are both what is called NRF2 activators. So, you know, as Mia said already, that she introduced listeners.
Well, we have different listeners each time, so you never know who's watching.
So the thing is, again, sort of from my my learning, there are somewhat 3 culprits to our health, or as that's who I'm learning from, Dr. Mark Houston, one of the most prominent cardiologists in the United States of America. He said that there are 3 infinite responses for our disease. They are oxidative stress, chronic inflammation, and immune response. And all of 3 are, again, intertwined. So NRF2 is basically an indicator, it's a sensor. NRF2 is a sensor. It's an intracellular sensor of oxidative stress, so free radical damage. Not only, also it's a sensor of, let's say, different toxic elements in the cells, like toxicity, like mercury. It does a whole bunch of other things. So being that sensor, what it does, NRF2 is so important, and I will be talking about it today at the presentation. You know, cells, they do have the, let's say, the garbage bags. They do have them. But what happens without NRF2, the garbage bags are going to be sitting in the cells.
Yeah.
They're not going to be exported outside of the cell.
Right.
So simply speaking, that's per se the huge significance of NRF2. If only we understand this, that it allows the cell to get rid of the cellular garbage.
That sounds very important.
It is hugely important.
Yeah.
Now, allowing the cell, because the major producers of the cellular garbage are mitochondria, because it's the hardest working element in the cell. Why? Because because for what it does, mitochondria literally gives us life. It's not only that I said that, it watches, the bad cells that goes wonky, it polices the cells, but it literally gives us life through energy. If there is no production of what is called ATP, whatever, cellular energy, the cell ceases to exist.
Yeah. You can think of it like a car parked in the driveway. It might be full of oxidative stress, but if it doesn't have the mitochondria, it's not going anywhere. It's not starting.
You have a Maserati. You have a brand new Maserati without an engine.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, expensive toy. So mitochondria, now making energy brings the end products. It creates end products. It creates some garbage. The more energy, the more garbage. Why do you think professional athletes are essentially very sick people?
Ironically, yeah.
Ironically, why? So if you examine, again, tangential, sorry, but if you take a professional athlete or some high-end athlete, athletes retire, when we look at athletes and say, oh, he's old, he's 35. And that athlete wants to be set for life because that athlete is crippled. So the chronological age of this Olympian is 35, but the biological age of this Olympian is probably not even 50.
And so let me understand. So that's because the mitochondria are basically working in overdrive, causing all of this garbage, and it's not being cleaned up.
Exactly. Because, in order to run a marathon, you need energy. You need your ATP.
Yeah.
You need your ATP, but you need to excrete that garbage out of the cells. But cells has a limited capacity. So if you don't do something else to the cell, extraneous, because NRF2 gets tired. The cleaning apparatus, you deplete a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's why the garbage is in the cells. That's why they're sick. Their oxidative stress is huge. So then again, it creates the trifecta of chronic inflammation and then failure of immune system.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why NRF2 is so important. Yeah. NRF2 is critically important. Any which way you upregulate it, I'm sorry, guys, per se, I love LifeVantage, but I will never say LifeVantage is exclusive. No, we're not exclusive. We're good, but we're not exclusive. So honestly, as long as people understand the concept and activate NRF2, I'm so happy with mine because, since 2013, I'm activating mine great. But meantime, I'm learning.
Always.
That's right.
And activating this NRF2 through this pathway and then the other, something like that. But it has to be activated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the mitochondria will stop working because you need all this, whatever NRF2 brings, because it's a sensor. Then it goes to the core, to the nucleus, and turns on those survivor genes that will start making these proteins or complexes to excrete the garbage or support mitochondria.
Yeah.
And everything is important. NRF2 is not going to work without vitamin C.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to eat it and you need to take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to have that strong immune system as well, of course.
NRF2 is not going to operate without vitamin D. NRF2 and DHA, aka essential fatty acid, fish oils, it's connected. You need to make everything work together in that balanced synergy.
Right. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to. So we've touched on many different aspects of how to keep ourselves happy and healthy. a lifestyle and whatever you're doing to pour into your lifestyle for that. And then we've touched on Protandim, and we've talked about NRF2, and NRF1 is the mitochondrial production. Is there any, and the fish oils, that also, we want our cell walls to be very strong and plump and healthy. But is there anything else that you would like to leave our audience with as we wrap up? Because we usually try to keep these to be around 30 minutes. We can go over a minute or two, but
yeah, no, this is perfect. Good. Again, the punchline is everyone is in charge of their body. AKA, so as a physician, I'm your consultant, but I need to know as a person what is good there for me and what is my commitment to myself. Mm-hmm. It's not just per se the blind taking of this, and that because somebody said, mm-hmm. and the bottle looks shiny and the price is great. No. You need to know why I want it, why I need it in my body, why I positively want it. Why am I committing to the better me? Because healthier me, happier me, happier me, happier my surroundings.
Right.
Because we cannot predict what's around us, what's brought on us, especially considering we learned in the last two plus years.
Yeah.
It's on us. So that stress, that fear, that uncertainty, that turbulence, that now anger, it's upon us. Mm-hmm. So it's exactly my take to unravel it into the positivity. What do I learn from what happens in the world? And how do I make myself the better me and the healthier me? Mm-hmm. Somebody said that the road to healthy life runs through healthy intestines.
I'm sorry.
Healthy intestines.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
And that's what it's like. It is my responsibility to be healthy and happy. Then, yes, I need to eat. I need to exercise. I need to pray. I need to meditate. I need to supplement. There is no ways around it. And I need to upregulate. Yes. Because the more I tune up my body, the less zombie cells we're going to have.
Well, that's a great way to leave it.
That's a great way to bring it to a close. Let me just summarize as we end here. Thank you so much for the incredibly valuable information from your highly educated professional perspective that you've shared with us. And so the good news about what we've been calling zombie cells is that there are things that we can be doing to help retard that progression of aging. Dr. Silverman talked about our mindset, our exercise, the nutrition, and then natural things we can do to fight this. And it's important to point out at this point that all of us, Dr. Silverman and us as well, are working with this very special technology that hands down has an impact on this aging and degradation of the cells. We've been talking about this product called Protandim, and it's got strong science behind it. It's validated by many independent peer-reviewed studies. And so if you'd like to know more about it, we'd be happy to share with you. We'd be happy to put you in touch with Dr. Silverman, and we can let you know more about this. But that, together with all these lifestyle choices, are so important for fighting the cellular degradation. So Dr. Silverman, we call you Sveta, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been so valuable, and we truly appreciate your time. Friends, look for these chats periodically here on Facebook on our Activate and Thrive page. And also we put them on YouTube, and we announce them on Facebook when they're coming up. Thank you so much for joining us today, everybody.
Thank you. And thank you, Sveta.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.